everyone, and welcome to not just another episode of the IT Business Podcast. This is episode 1000. And welcome. Thank you very much. And if you have been here since 2016 watching the show, thank you for hanging in there. If you're new to the show, well, thank you for joining as well. This is going to be one of those shows where I'm going to ask you to, cozy up to something, grab yourself a adult drink, a coffee, a beverage, something to sit back and hang out with us for a while. I do want to say that when we brought Podnutz Pro back, there kind of wasn't really a plan. There certainly wasn't a plan for getting to episode 1000. We just thought we would sit around, share some stories, share some tips, and be part of a community. And that has been what this is. We've talked about everything, going back to the computer repair days, RMM, cybersecurity, business growth, all of those things. And it has been a journey, to say the least. Most of you know the show it's not about perfection. It's not a polished show. It's not something that, is going to end up on TV someday, but it is a show where, as I've talked to people over the years, the one thing that they tell me is that they enjoy learning, they enjoy hearing from other business owners and other vendors in the channel, and that's what we're going to keep doing as long as you guys will have me. I want to acknowledge some people already popping in. Eric Anthony joining us from All Things MSP. Thank you very much, sir. And I wish I could be in the comments for the whole show. Oh, going to Kaseya Connect. Yep. I will not be there. Tom Wyatt. Hello. And Jeremy Steger. Thank you, sir, for acknowledging 1000. Now, let's go ahead and get started with the reunion that I have been talking about, the people that helped me bring back the show in 2016. I'm talking about Mr. Matt Rainey and Martin Obando. Guys, welcome to the IT Business Podcast.
Thank you.
Thanks. It feels like yesterday.
No, it doesn't.
Not for me either.
Apparently, I don't get much sleep these days.
So for those that
I look pretty good still for being such a long time. I noticed a lot more gray than those photos had. Oh man, I was young.
Yeah, we all were young.
I have more hair in some of those photos now.
So for those that don't know, the original Podnutz Pro was started by you, Matt Rainey, along with Lalo. Well, actually, the first episodes were Steve Cherubino, and then Lalo Nunez came in, and you guys did about 80 episodes. And then in 2016, we brought it back, mainly because you still wanted to do the show, but nobody would run the controls. And so I said, I'll run the controls. And then we needed a third, Martin Obando. We did the M&M show for quite some time. And that was how Podnutz Pro came back until you guys bailed on me. Well, that's probably not the right way to say that.
Oh, that's pretty close. Pretty close.
Yeah, it's pretty. It hurts, but it's true.
So let me start by asking you guys, how's life been, and what are you doing now?
Go ahead, Matt.
Okay, so I'm actually doing the same thing now as I was doing last time we talked. Still with the company, still doing the same job, working. Not really much has changed at all for me for work.
Are you still doing the job for your techs?
I mean, that's always part of the job. So I do have to help them as much as they need. That's just to get it done. But yeah, that's the job.
All right.
We're going good. We're still going good.
All right. And for those that don't know, we'll just say that you're in the great state of Louisiana.
Yeah, Louisiana. I mean, thank you for the great part.
Are you not claiming the state anymore?
No, I mean, I just don't know if I'd put that adjective on it. But
okay. All right. And Martin Obando, what do they call over there? The left coast, the wrong coast.
Oregon,
Pacific Northwest. I don't know what is it.
Northwest. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, still, still same room, just different stuff behind me. It's a little more purple now. It's the last time my current daughter-in-law was living in this room for a while, and so she painted it purple. And then when I moved back into the room, my wife said, "You want to paint it?" And I said, "No, it's fine." So it's purple, and it's got calming effect on me. So
Is it purple or
yeah,
lilac?
no, I left. Yes, it's probably lilac. I was looking up. It is sunny today. The sun is blinding for my eyes. I don't know what to do with that thing outside. Yeah. No, I left Obando Computing in May of 2020. So it was just time. It was about 10 years by that time, and it had nothing to do with COVID, even though it was right on the beginning of COVID. And so I spent about 4 months just camping and hanging out and doing nothing, and then ended up at another MSP local here, and I've been there for almost 5 years.
Nice.
So doing account with management. So yeah.
So what happened in May? I know that May was the year of our COVID. So what happened? You were doing like a bunch of school district stuff, and
I was. I think it just Obando Computing. It was time for Obando Computing to move on. I was burnt out. Technically, I guess that's the best way to do it after 10 years. Okay. And I had some support, but it wasn't the support that was needed. And so I was just going through a lot of turnover. And I think at that time, my wife said, "It's time. You know, you've done it. You've done a good job with it. You've posted along, but there was some, it was time to move on. I think and it was a good thing for our family, for my wife at the time, and for us. So we're strong and everything's good. We're, nothing happened outside of that. Just moved on to another location. So
I like the way you phrased it. It was good for the wife.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And now I'm not having to do billing and invoicing and all the stuff that comes with owning a small business anymore. I don't handle any of that stuff, but you can't take the person out. And so I walked into this next job saying I'd like to have a better work-life balance, and I go to work at 5 a.m. and I get off at 5 p.m. So I think the work-life balance there I missed out on that. But so
what? I'm sorry. Why do you go to work at 5 a.m.?
So my biggest customer that I support is it's an automation company. So they handle a lot of robots, a lot of packaging, a lot of all that kind of stuff. And it's 500.
Amazon?
It is not Amazon. So it's another company, but we have customers from Boston, New York, Georgia, Chicago, so I cover. We've got about 500 people all across the United States. And I'm their account manager, and so I have a team of people that work with me, but they have other things to do as well. So, any new onboarding people, I'm there helping out with. So, like tomorrow, for example, there's a new person starting. I'm going to be at work at 5 a.m. Because they're starting from the East Coast.
Wow.
So I definitely keep busy for sure. So
that's a no-go for me. 5 a.m.
Well. I'm kind of used to it now. So.
Matt, when we were talking last, you didn't like to even drive out of your neighborhood to go to work. Remember that?
For Martin?
No, Rainey. Rainey.
I still don't. I mean, I still work from home 99% of the time. I go to the office usually for about 4 hours every other week.
Okay. Nice.
I do not. I just go to the office. I have about a 40-minute drive to work in the morning. So.
Oh wow! I got a 6-minute drive.
Right. Well, there are days when I do work from home, but I feel like I'm way more efficient at work. There's a lot of the cube talk that goes on, and trying to manage things, because that's one of my companies that I manage. I manage 4 other ones local here to the Pacific Northwest, and so I have to make sure that I keep up with all of them as well. So while my other customers will maybe dip off about 2 o'clock or so like that, then the other customers kick in, and so they definitely keep me busy.
My techs are on the road as well, so if I'm at the office, they're on the road. I still don't see them just because I'm at the office. Yeah. So. Yeah. There's not much incentive for me to go.
It's horrible. 6 minutes.
I know. I got to go through
60 seconds is too much for me.
I got to go through 2 stop signs and a light. Now they added a light.
So we have a roundabout now.
Oh, I love
So,
roundabouts.
between my house and the office. So
Oh,
still no
at
stop
that one
sign.
intersection. At the one intersection, you had to go through.
Yes. All right, guys. So listen, surprise number one is here. And let me just bring this person to the stage. There
What's
he
up?
is.
Oh,
One of the originals of
Lalo.
Podnutz Pro, Lalo Nunez, is in the
What's
house.
up? How's everybody doing?
Good.
good. How you been?
Man, it is good to see your beautiful faces. It's awesome.
You looking
For
good too.
those
You
that
been
don't
doing
know,
well.
go ahead.
Thank you. So, sorry, Matt?
I say you looking good too. You've been doing well.
Yeah, man. A lot have changed since a Podnutz Pro. Now a father of two beautiful girls, a husband, and I mean, it's life is different. But yeah, I mean, blessed. Completely, life is great. So, Podnutz was great. It really was a key piece of my career as far as that whole chapter, and and what you guys are doing. It's just awesome.
Congratulations.
Very
That's
good.
awesome.
Thank you.
So for
Yeah, I
those
think-
that don't know, Lalo was the second host of Podnutz Pro. Matt was always the talent,
He was.
and
Thank you. Sure.
and you guys ran that show for, what was it? Was it 2 years that you did it? Over?
About. Mm-hmm. Yep. About 2 years. And I mean, Matt always had awesome conversations. At the time, I think it was Windows Server 2003. Was that what the operating
Cool.
system back then? Or something like that? Just
Wow.
Is that
Yeah,
when
those-
is that when I won the Raspberry Pi? Is that what was that what brought me on? There was something about what would you do with the Raspberry Pi? And you asked for submissions. And I remember submitting something about it. Then I never did anything with it, but I did get the Raspberry Pi.
Oh, I think that was after the fact.
That
but-
doesn't sound like something we did.
No? All right.
No. Sounds more like Android app acting.
No.
No.
Those Podnutz days were something. So yeah,
Yeah.
Podnutz Pro was the sister program to Podnutz, the computer repair show. Geeksters, run by our friend Martin Obando here, was a part of that show for a while. And then there were some other shows. But yeah, I think the problem is all those shows ran together.
Mhm.
So it was hard to know which one was which, except for Android App Addicts. That was kind of always, the flagship, separate from all the rest.
Yep, and that was I mean, if you think about it, Podnutz back in the day was the pioneers of what you see now, right? So like, we were doing different shows and different topics, and now, that's what, what folks are attempting to do now. So, we were, I think, years before, what you see now. So.
Yeah. Matt, I don't think I asked you properly the last time we did this, which the last time we got together like this was episode 300 of Podnutz Pro. And that was, 700 episodes ago. It's pretty amazing there. But I wanted to get around to asking you the original talking point with starting up Podnutz Pro separate from Podnutz. Do you remember that? What made you decide to do that?
Yes. So a lot of the stuff on Podnutz was geared toward desktop administration. There was nothing with the server side networking. So, and I tried to find something that did that explained people who were doing desktop administration, how to convert that and what skills and what you need to know for the server side. And I couldn't find anything. And a lot of stuff that I was hearing, to be honest, was just wrong because it was coming from the desktop side, not understanding the server side. So I was just trying to have something for the beginner to start with the basics level, and work that up.
Yep. Basics of Active Directory, DNS,
Right.
all of those things.
Just things that I was at the time was seeing done incorrectly, that I could go behind somebody and take over their server, quote, and I could tell that the person had no idea what they were doing. that they set it up like they were only thinking about desktops, maybe how to join two desktops to talk to each other. But that's not server, it's not Active Directory. None of them were dealing with server OSs. So that was the starting point for that.
Yep,
And Lalo, if I remember, were you working in business at the time?
I tried to start my own computer repair, the business, but I was unsuccessful, and I'll tell you why. Because I had a full-time job with the government, and I didn't want to let that go. So, looking back, if I would have just let that go and kind of went with both feet in, like the outcome may have been different. But I give it a shot, and then I focused my career on work and dealing with networks and certifications. So, and that's where my path took me. So, and that was what Matt was saying. When you're a desktop technician compared to a network technician or engineer or admin, like the mindset is just different. The troubleshooting aspect, the planning, the deployment, you're no longer thinking about this PC I'm working on. You're thinking, can this support 500, 1,000 users and licensing? God knows you need a whole certification track to understand licensing for many of these products. But yeah.
And Obando, we just kind of drug you in, didn't we?
Maybe I begged. I don't know. It could have been. But yeah, I just jumped on. I think it was, and I just enjoyed it. I really enjoyed being able to bridge the gap between home and then maybe doing a little home network. And then what does that look like doing like DHCP and DNS, even on your local, Linksys WRT54G router, right? What does that look like? And then what does it look like to take that and expand that and then think differently and to put that into a place inside of a network for 10, 20, 30 people, like a small businesses. And it was a good, fun time and passionate time of being able to do that. And Lalo, you touched on it. Now everything is Azure and cloud-based, and it's just a whole, we have people that I work with now who are just taking their Network Plus and their A Plus, and they're coming back, and I'm like, back in my day, we used to flip dip switches for COM ports, and they're like, a what? I'm like, a dip switch, and they're like, we don't even know what that is, and I'm like, okay, well, here we go,
Yeah. No, you're exactly right.
So I don't know if things are easier or it was more simpler back then. It's like working on older cars, right? This was a carburetor. This is what it does. Now you're just like, I don't know. It's got a computer.
I mean, I definitely think it's more difficult now. Like the resources are out there, right? So you have courses, you have YouTube, you have a lot more podcasts than we had when we started. But now, as you said, there's the cloud, and then there's a big emphasis on security. And like Matt said, you can walk into an environment and you can spot key things and say, okay, this was deployed incorrectly. And then, of course, I see what a lot of folks have a bad taste with technology, like because the implementation was bad. I can't stand Microsoft Teams, or I can't stand this, or whatever the case may be. When the issue was there was no deployment, there was no training for the users, and you can't have someone just walking in on Monday morning. Here's a new login to these applications. Have a good day. I mean, you're gonna frustrate the people, because folks are creatures of habit, and I mean, you all have seen it. I've seen someone work with Microsoft Word, and they're clicking 12 different keystrokes. I'm, let me show you a shortcut. You show them a shortcut. Next Monday morning, the same 12 keystrokes. Just creatures of habit.
Yeah, as far as desktop technicians go now, is that even a thing? Do technicians even troubleshoot desktops anymore? Don't they just call the manufacturer, open a case, let them come fix it?
For hardware, surely, yeah. And
then if it's broken and not under warranty, here's a quote for a new one. Isn't that what they do now? Back then, when we built the computers, we had to troubleshoot it and figure out what the problem was and change the components. I think a lot of newer people really don't know how to do that with desktops.
I just had a office manager. So they just put in an order for 2 new laptops that I got to configure and ship out to remote users. And I asked them something because they have I call them a junior. You guys probably haven't heard me say this. So I've got customers that I co-manage, and they have a desktop like technician on staff that kind of handles the little stuff. I call them juniors, whether they're TJ for a tech junior, DJ for desktop junior. One of them is an AJ because he's really the, office manager. So he's an admin person trying to be a tech. But so I was asking something and he goes, yeah, our guy doesn't even know how to create an email address. So you'll have to help him do that as well. I mean, I don't know what's happening with our education when it comes to IT, but you're right. A lot of techs are coming in not able to do the basics. If they've got a troubleshoot, they're almost like, oh my God, what? Just get a new one. That's
Right.
literally what they're saying.
Yeah, I mean, when I used to do interviews at many jobs, I've been part of that interview panel, and I would be explain the DHCP process, and you sit there and like they know what it is, but but they don't know the DORA process, the discover offer, and the request and the acknowledgement. But you separate yourself from everybody else when you understand how it works, and then troubleshooting becomes a lot easier because now you're just not guessing. And to what you said, Marvin, that's a lot of times I'm talking to someone who administers the environment, but they're just a go-to person. Either they got appointed or they volunteered or did it, and it's and when it comes to really complex things, especially when buying a proper laptop, I know that sounds super simple, but based on what the requirements are for that user, you get them the wrong laptop and they're going to have the worst experience possible. And then, it's going to come back to whoever's administering, that environment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know about y'all, but we've had people who want to take over administration, not tech, the techiest person at the company. We want to do some stuff without calling y'all. Can you help? I mean, I can help when you screw it up. I had one just the other day that they call saying they can print some days and some days they can't print. That was the description. So I'm looking at it and it printed fine. And it's like, what? I don't understand why it wouldn't. Anyway, bottom line is the tech on site who installed it, let it go through DHCP. It gave the printer an IP address. He put that IP as static on the printer, but he forgot he also said it's static on some other notebook. So when the notebook was there, the printer couldn't print because it didn't know which IP to send it to. So I found like 4 printers after that he did that to. All 4 of them say, yeah, it works sometimes and sometimes it doesn't. Simple thing, but screwed up.
Yep.
We find that same type of a scenario, but we'll find it with, and it's right. This is not all about education and learning, but we'll find that with a VPN, right? You've got a user who VPNs into work, and the work is the company has given out like a 192.168 as an IP address for the VPN, and the customer has a 192.168, and then all of a sudden things stop working, and you go, what happened? And then you start looking and digging in, and you're like, okay, the VPN and your home network are exactly the same. So you got 2 options. One, probably the work's not going to work for you. So now we're dealing with a remote user who we have to basically say, here's what we're going to need to do. We need to change your home. And they're like, and I'm like, I know, I don't know how to fix that. Right. But so let me help you remotely from, 400 miles away, work on flatlining your IP address and your scope. And we're going to rebuild it from scratch. So you can print at the office printer.
So funny part, I was traveling out west and I went to my hotel and I couldn't VPN into my home network. I said, why can I not VPN in? I have an obscure IP. It's a different IP a network. This hotel just happened to use the same subnet as I did. Then I was like, what are the odds that you're using? So like, okay, so.
They're probably like, nobody's going to ever do this one. We're going to be so unique. Yeah. And then Lalo comes along.
So I had a problem a few weeks ago. Again, same subnet at home and at work. So what they do is they connect the VPN and they RDP to their private IP address, private IP at work. But then we found when they have the same subnet, I found that if the VPN's pushing DNS, we'll just use the computer name and that works, right? and this wouldn't work for this one person. Talk about coincidence. Her DHCP address at the office was the exact same IP address on her home computer.
Word the
Internal. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So changed her IP address, excluded it from DHCP on her home router, and it worked. But same exact IP address. That was a coincidence.
But all these things that we're talking about in a business like environment, you have to understand how DHCP works and DNS and how to verify if it works or not. Because if not, I mean, you'll spend so much time like just going down a rabbit hole and and come to find out it's a bad A record or something like that. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a skill set and we all go through it, like especially when we're new. And I've been super blessed in my whole life to have mentors who were doing it for 10 or 15 years, and they were the seniors, and they would be like, hey, just let me show you how this works. So then, but I also took advantage of the opportunity, buy them a coffee, buy them lunch, wherever the case may be. But, I was trying to download what they taught me. And I try to do the same with other people. Let me tell you what I did wrong, because I don't want you to take that same wrong, long path, trying to share the knowledge and pay it forward. But, at the end of the day, it's going to take time. It's going to take experience. Sometimes I get folks, they're like, I just graduated from college and I want this position. I would say, well, especially in IT, you got to start somewhere and then work yourself up. I mean, the real day-to-day experience with dealing with clients and customers and sometimes really oddball deployment scenarios, that's where you learn. And
Yeah, I think for any new tech out there, I would say don't get your blinders on, right? Don't just automatically assume. Don't make it a quick fix, right? Because it may be a super quick fix, but it may be something so obscure. But as soon as you put your blinders on and you just head down like that's the problem, and you spend 2 hours with that's the problem, and then as soon as you step back and you go, that's not the problem, right? This is a 20-minute fix, but because you were you're so headstrong about that, and I don't know if that has anything to do with just our quick fix nature right now. Right back in the day, we had to do dip switches. You had to do all these things. You had to do IRQ commands with all that kind of stuff. And now everything is just plug and play, which has led to, a very transactional, right? I want to fix something and I want it to be very transactional and fast. And I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing. It can help the customer, right? Because the customer gets stuff done quickly. But if it's outside of just the norm, then I think it can become a stumbling block.
I agree.
Yeah. So I just had a customer who decided that they wanted Wi-Fi, but instead of asking me, one of the users were like, oh, I've got an old Wi-Fi router at home. Let me just bring it in. And so they brought it in and they spent 3 days wondering why they would have intermittent connection. And they brought in some old D-Link Wi-Fi router that was literally the same subnet, also a DHCP server, so it was conflicting, and they couldn't figure it out. And when they finally called me and I went on site, I took my tool, connected it, and I'm like, oh, you have 2 DHCP servers. What did you do? Oh, we didn't do anything. I'm like, yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Liars. So, guys, I have a second surprise here. And let me go ahead and bring to the stage. She spent, I believe it was 2021 as the darling of the channel. She is now one of the more popular repeat guests on the IT Business Podcast. She is Dawn Sizer with Third Element Consulting. Sizer, how are you?
Hey guys.
How you doing?
Good. How are you? Good. What's going on?
Yeah, you heard us chatting, just, remembering the old days. Any of those ring a bell for you?
I kind of chuckled at the dip switches and I hate to date myself, but I was kind of doing one of those. Yeah, I remember doing that. So.
People think I say something like, they're like, what did you say? I'm like, no. This is,
Yeah.
I didn't tell you anything. This is something that's legitimate. It's on my grandfathered A++, my A+ test that I never have to take again.
Yeah, I don't remember who I was talking to, but they had brought up like dip switches the other day. I was like, man, oh man, like I remember that and how miserable they were. And even just trying to like, remember when the first couple times you put a secondary hard drive into a machine and you had to like take the little pieces off and which way did they go this time? And oh man,
The old
freaking
rubber,
nightmare.
the old rubber dongles.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, and then, I mean, you all don't have like long fingernails. Imagine trying to do it with like little fingernails. I had to go get like little pliers and stuff to pull them off. Yeah, I know, first world problems, but legitimately, it was kind of a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
So,
So you could either make it, you put it on the ribbon the right way, or you could use the little rubber dongle things to do it. And then if you mess up, you're like, I don't know, it doesn't work still.
I know, right?
I pulled apart an old computer the
So-
other day that had an actual floppy disk in it. It had the cut cable that was spun. And I'm like, remember those? And some people were like, not a clue. We have one guy that works for us who was not around he was born after 2001.
Wow.
And so we'll talk about something and he goes, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I wasn't even born yet.
It's all right. My kids are still in that age range of, we had to roll down the windows. What does that mean? Yeah, exactly. Same type of
It means we
conversation.
didn't have air conditioning. That's what that means.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Don, this is your time here. For those that are watching, I put out the request that I wanted this to be a listener-driven show, and I would give up time on the show to have other people contribute and stuff. And Miss Sizer has something for us. Are we ready for
Well,
that?
one-
Or
Yeah, you're crazy to have done this, because giving me free reign on anything when I'm literally a chaos goblin is not the best idea for
Well,
anybody involved.
I imagine you were going to use Claude in some form or fashion. So
I actually didn't. Well, maybe a little bit. I used Suno. So I put together a sea shanty that I thought maybe everybody would enjoy going forward. So I'm going to throw that in the chat for everybody. Give me like 2 seconds here. I'm going to give you the link for that. And you can play that as you like, enjoy it as you like, and do whatever you like to do. See
I
if I,
just
can
threw up
actually
the
connect in
comment
here.
from Frank. Remember using jumpers to set the megahertz and turbo setting display on the computer cases. Yeah, telling people I'm going to make your computer turbo and hitting a button is always pretty cool.
Right. Well, it doesn't want to let me adjust the chat, so I'm going to throw it in here on the private chat, and I will let you post it for everybody
Okay.
else to enjoy. But it is a sea shanty entitled "Single Pane of Glass." So it is all about our industry. Every crazy thing about our industry, there is a sea shanty for it now.
So
enjoy
is
that.
there? So it's musical.
It is musical. Yeah,
Okay.
it's full on music. Yes.
All right. So let me bring up the share here, and we're just going to share. Is this the right one here? Oh, we've got the,
All the
Hang on.
windows. Yeah, that's the right one. Yeah.
okay, let me do this. Continue. I don't want to continue. Let me see the best way to share this here. Share it as a tab.
There we go.
No, the tab doesn't work.
Oh no.
You probably should have practiced this.
We probably should have. I'm terrible at this. See, Chaos Goblin. This is what happens.
So maybe I'll share it as a window. Will that work?
I don't know. It might. While we're doing that, though, I mean, this is 1,000 episodes. Like, it's a lot. Like, a lot.
Yeah,
There it
there it is. Okay, so I just hit play.
You just hit play.
Here we go. Single Pane of Glass by Dr. Sizer.
I don't know if it's sharing your sound, but I don't think it's sharing your
Yeah, no
sound.
sound. Yeah.
What? You're not hearing the sound?
No.
No,
It's always something, isn't it?
it is. We should have
Oh.
practiced this.
Yeah, but then it wouldn't have been a surprise.
That's true.
All right, let's see here. How do we share the sound of another tab in StreamYard? Just unmute everything here. Hear that?
No.
No. Apparently StreamYard just does not like you.
Can I download it? I guess not.
Probably can. Wondering if I can just throw it in the chat comments.
You could, but it's no that we won't be able to share it here.
All right, well, we'll put it in the show notes if nothing else, so everybody can grab it from there.
All right.
It's
So
funny. You'll enjoy it.
thanks, Dawn,
So there's that. You're welcome.
making my show a success. I hear it. I can't imagine why you guys don't hear it.
Well, could you just sing it for us?
Yeah, just sing.
Yeah, come on, bro.
I'll play it and sing along with it.
It's like karaoke.
The problem is the music is what you guys need.
Yeah, you do. You need the sea shanty piece to it because it's pretty good.
Yeah, you need the music. Wow. Very interesting.
So anyway, we'll put it in the show notes, and I'll pop out to the comments later here and put it in.
All right,
So,
let me see if I can just drop it here real quick. So for those that are watching,
there it is.
there it is popping up for our listeners, the Single Pane of Glass sea shanty. And it's got several verses.
It's hefty. It is hefty. Yes.
Yeah. Very interesting. Okay, so let me tell you this, Sizer. I was worried that you were going to like show up with like 10 of your pals and you were going to like sing it live. That's what I was
Nope.
worried about.
Nope. No, I do have another one though that's all about pillars and PowerPoint. So if we have to, we can do that. But anyway, the big
Right.
part of this though, when you said, hey, will you come on and talk about anything you want on this 1,000th episode, I was like, yeah, sure. Like, how hard is this going to be? But I don't know that we all think about how hard it is to do something 1,000 times. It's a lot, like a lot. And Marvin stuck with this for 1,000 episodes and 1,000 different conversations. And if you think about how often that is, I mean, I was down in Fort Lauderdale not too long ago, and he's like, "Hey, you're here. Do you want to record an episode?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Well, I'm here. Might as well." So, but the opportunity that he takes every chance that he gets to actually record an episode and do the right thing for the community and be able to share and give back, it's extraordinary. Like, you really think about how much time, effort, and energy that Marv has put into this. It's a lot. Like, I don't know that I've sat down and really thought about it until he asked me to do this episode. So, one, thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for doing this for all of us, because I know you enjoy it, but this is for all of us. So I think the community thanks you. We all thank you. It's a big deal.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And I'll be honest, I don't always enjoy it.
That's fair.
So, I mean, here's the deal. So back in the day when, the Podnutz crew was just doing stuff, it was pretty much, it was almost like a social thing where once a week you'd just kind of hop on, what was it, Google Hangouts or whatever, and just record something. And you know what, once a week is all it was. I think when we started doing live conference events, and when I started doing the live show, and then people wanted to do an audio show, that's when it really got to be a big thing, because then I was doing, you know, a minimum of 2 a week. And on a good conference, that's, you know, 15, 20 episodes at a conference. So that's where it became a big thing. But to be honest, most of the time it's fantastic. It's great. I think the biggest thing is letting people know how much time it takes before an episode to get it set up, to get the guests, to get the talking points, to make new guests feel comfortable. And then afterwards to do the editing, put it together, post it, and in some cases market it, which I don't do, which is why, you know, it's not like I'm a huge content creator, because I'm not trying to be. I'm trying to just do my job, you know, give back to the community and see how it goes.
But you are a content creator. I don't know. I don't think that you're, you know, consciously thinking about it, but you are. I mean, you think about the amount of content you put out, even on the weeklies, at least 2 hours worth of content. That's a lot.
Well, Rainey was the original content creator. Rainey, what do you think?
Well, that's the thing. I didn't do any of the pre or post work, because had I been required to do that, it would have never happened, because I know that's more work than the show itself, than the content itself, is the pre and post production.
Yeah,
that's
what-
not my thing. That was Lalo's thing. Good, he was good at it. It was never my thing. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, and like Don was saying, like it's a lot of work. Again, I didn't do it at the scale that Marvin is doing it now, but even now for what I do for a living, I have to create content, and there's a lot. Folks just see, like in this case, folks just jumping on for like an interview, or they may see me create a content for a course, but they have no idea that took days and days of recording and editing and planning, and labs going wrong, and then you have to deal with the audio and the video. So it's a lot of work. But
Video never goes wrong.
right. And you know, I can't tell you how I would practice a lab. It works great, and then hit record, and you know, everything just goes wrong. But that speaks a lot to you, Marv, and the whole crew, just to do it week in and week out, knowing the work that's involved in it. And then the beautiful part is that sometimes a new person will find your show, and then they're like, oh, it's just pretty cool, and they walk away knowing something that they did not know, he or she, before they started listening to the show. So again, a great job. And I follow you on social media. I see you in all the live conferences, and I'm like, that's cool, because I also attend conferences, and I think it's cool to just go out there and talk to the people and just network. So again, great job.
Yep. And let's not forget, we should probably mention Martin Obando also had his own podcast called Geeksters back in the day. And,
yeah. And all the production, I got to give props to Door to Door Geek on that one. All the production went to Door. We just recorded Audacity on our side, handed off to Door, and he did a lot of work with that. So as far as the production goes for Geeksters, he was definitely the brains behind all of that. And I don't think Geeksters would have, Geeksters was very successful because of what Door did behind the scenes, and spent a lot of time behind the scenes making me sound good. He tried to make me look good, but there's some things that are there's some things you don't even try, but he definitely made me sound good.
So Marvin, you said we did like 80 shows for Podnutz Pro. I couldn't possibly imagine 1,000. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't. No. So definitely congratulations on 1,000. Mm-hmm.
The piece that gets me is that not only does he show up like on the good weeks, right? Because everybody's got good weeks. We've all got bad ones too. And he still shows up on those weeks. Like that's the part that gets me. There's plenty of times that I would have been like, yeah, I'm just not doing that this week. I've got too many other things going on. There's too many other things in my life. But Marv keeps showing up. And it's really amazing that you have the stick-to-itiveness to it to do it, especially when, there are things that happen in everybody's life and you just either don't have the time, effort, or energy for it. And there you are.
Let me at least say this. So I was going to save some of this towards the end, but a lot of that has to go credit-wise to my wife, who basically lets me do this. That's really the big thing. So I don't have a lot of other family like, most of you. I don't have my own set of kids. I do have a stepson, doesn't live with us. My mom is, 2 hours away. I have a sister that, I try not to talk to unless I have to. So I'm kind of left to be able to do this. My office is 1,000 feet from my house, so it's not a big commute thing for me. And I do it. I just fit it in as part of the schedule. And it works out really nice that the guests, are able to accommodate my schedule as well. Because again, this is not full time at all. I still have my service provider company that I run, my boutique MSP, and got to pay the bills. But yeah, here it is on a Sunday, and I know at some point I'm going to get a text because the lawn's got to be mowed.
You need a zero-turn
So
mower.
you just have to approve that. Say approved. You can cut it. Is that what happens?
Do a threat locker request. Oh yeah, approved. Go ahead and mow.
I would think with all the automation these days, you would just have it would have just automated by now.
So I'll be honest. I did look at the robot mower one time.
The Yarbo, or did you look at one of the other ones?
I forget which one it was, but the problem is our yard is not. It's not like continuous to where the mower can just go and do both the front yard and the backyard, around the pool, around the garden beds. It's too much work. So I'd have to watch it, move it. I'm like, you know what? I might as well just mow.
It just takes a shortcut through your rose bushes. It's all right.
Yeah. Pick it up out of the pool.
I
Once
just
in a while.
wanted, right? That's what I'm thinking. It's just
Out of
going to
the
take a
pool.
shortcut through the pool.
Yeah.
Siri, stop the mower. Siri, stop the mower. My phone just kicked on.
Yeah, I don't have any automation at the house. Not going to do it. Now with AI tag into it, no, not a chance.
Oh, I don't know. The vacuum. The vacuum is amazing. Like, I don't know that I could function without the robot vacuum and mop.
Actually, Rainey, you don't need a vacuum anymore because you got rid of all your carpet because of the flood, right?
Yeah, right. So there's no carpet, and as far as I know, I think I have a magic lawnmower and a magic, because I don't do any of that stuff and it gets done. So my wife likes to cut the grass, so I don't have to do any of that.
My wife cuts the back, I cut the front.
Yeah, she does.
That's
it all.
why I get that. When she's done, she lets me know and she puts the battery. It's a battery powered mower, so she does the back, puts the battery back on charge so that, when I get home, I can finish the front.
Yep, I don't do any of that.
Yep.
I come home I don't come home when it's cut. I walk out of my office and see it's cut. I don't have any windows in my office at home.
You don't even hear it? Are you that oblivious?
Terrible. I don't hear it. I see it's cut. Like, oh look, you got the grass. Good job. She's been cutting.
So
All right.
I'm curious though, now that you've touched on the automation piece, and some of us do have some minor automation at home, like how much automation do we have as IT professionals? Is it a whole lot of that's nice and all, but I'm not doing that? Or is it very conditional on maybe here, maybe there, but I really don't want anybody listening in my household?
I don't have any automation in my house.
My whole entire home has automation, but it's all on a different VLAN, so it doesn't hit any of my home network stuff. So if it gets compromised, then I have fun with my light bulbs. But yeah.
So when you say automation, so you said light bulbs. What else is automated?
Everything from the garage door to my pool to door locks. I mean, everything. So when we bought our home, it was set for automation. And me being a geek, I just took advantage of it. And so again, it's on a different VLAN, so it only has access to the internet, so it can't access any of my internal stuff. But I get the danger, I get the risk, I get the I totally get it. Some people just won't do it, which is fine. So
I've got sprinklers on automation.
there you go.
I can do those from my app.
That I don't have.
I had Siri, but I ripped it out. Sorry, did I turn it on again for you, Martin?
No, it's good because it's through the headset.
Yeah. But nothing else. No.
Dave wants the blinds. That's his like new thing. Like if we can just get the blinds with the remote and
Those are
stuff.
cool.
I was like, yeah.
But
Those I like. I would
is
like.
that automated blinds or is it just the blinds with the remote control like a TV?
He wants both. Let's be fair. Like he wants to be able to yell at them also. So
Well, I think that's probably the best part of automation is it gives you something to yell at.
I can yell at my blinds. They won't do anything.
Right.
But I can yell at them.
I guess that's true.
yeah, but then you have to like figure out what to name them, right? Because with everything else, you have to figure out what to name it. Like the vacuum upstairs is Dirt Reynolds. The one downstairs is Optimus Prime because it mops too. So a friend of mine has the lawnmower. We named it Blade Runner. So like you have to name things. Like what do you name the blinds?
Shady.
Stevie Wonder.
Oh, Shady's actually pretty
Any by
funny.
nature.
It could be. I mean, like mine are really thin, so it could be like Slim Shady.
Slim Shady.
I'm just saying. I may not be automated, but I'm there whenever I want to.
Tom in the chat writes, IKEA used to make great powered blinds that tie into Apple HomeKit. I've got a bunch of them and they are awesome. All right, there you go.
Nice.
IKEA, folks.
Yeah, and again, from a security standpoint, I totally get it because some of the firmware never gets updated or that code is uncompromised. I totally get where people are like, I am not doing it. But I tell people, I just assume that Big Brother is always watching. In fact, they're part of our conversation right now. I try to use strong passwords and MFA and everything else, but I definitely get that it's scary for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But the blinds are pretty cool. No, not that I have those, but I went to Amsterdam recently. The whole hotel room was automated from the blinds to the lights, and I was like, I play with the blinds. I just kept smashing the button. Go, man, that's pretty cool. I was like a little kid.
Oh.
So yeah, the
All right.
Moxies there have that done. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I need to do a quick bit of programming here. The show was planned for 90 minutes, but I have two people here that I know have to leave at the top of the hour. So I want to go ahead and say thank you to Mr. Rainey. Thank you to Lalo, Martin, and Don. If you are able to stay on. I will keep the show going here. We'll open it more to ask me anything type questions, but I wanted to do that acknowledgement. I have a quick little video. Well, it's not quick. It's actually a full 5 minutes that I was going to use as a break point here. So I wanted to say, Matt, thank you for, hanging with me as long as you could when we were doing Podnutz Pro. Lalo, thank you for helping Rainey, take the helms back in the day, and turned out to be a pretty good show.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. Glad we could pass it off to someone like you who could do so much with it.
Yes, and you're doing a great job. And again, a lot of it is just your own time and your own sweat and tears some weeks, but you're affecting a lot of people and great lives, and you're motivating people to do better and become a better version of themselves. So for that, thank you. Thank you for inviting me, and you're doing great things, and for 1,000 more episodes, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, we'll see. With that, let's take a break during this episode here. We've got a quick video. It's going to be a few minutes, folks. It's actually 5 minutes, 43 seconds. So you can grab a drink, but keep the sound up so you can hear the music and some of the comments as we continue on with episode 1000.
Hey, Uncle Marv, Diana Giles here, also known as Giles. Congratulations on your 1000th episode. It is quite a milestone. I think we also have to acknowledge IT Nation Pitch It and their contribution to you reaching this milestone so quickly. But in thinking about what my favorite episode was, or the ones that really stick out in my mind, I haven't been able to come up with one, but what I realized was the ones that I really appreciated have been the ones that I could really relate to, where you were talking about different stories and things that you were experiencing, or even vendor experiences that were relatable, or frustrating days, those kinds of things. And for me, those are the ones that I appreciate the most, although certainly there are a lot of other episodes that, have provided a lot of great content and information. But the ones that I most appreciate are the ones that I really can relate to. And you do a great job of putting out a podcast that is relatable. And I think that's why you are so good at it. So again, congratulations and thank you for your contribution to the channel through your podcast.
Hey, Uncle Marv, Tom Bull from Two River Computer here. Wanted to chime in and congratulate you on your 1000th podcast. That's really impressive. And I'll tell you that this community owes you a debt of gratitude for all the time and energy that you put into this. We all need you. We all look to you for your wisdom and guidance, and for some of the fun and silly stuff even. Love Florida, man. Anyway, thanks for everything, and congratulations on 1,000, and hope to see you keep on chugging along.
There we are. Rainey, you're still here. All right, sir. Thank you much. We'll see ya. All right. We'll kick you out. Let's see. Dawn had to go. The dogs were causing a ruckus there at her place. And this normally would be the after hours part of the show. And for those that are still here, I'm actually going to put up a little note there, and I'm going to put a link in the chat that if anybody's out there and wants to join and ask a question or comment about the show, you can do that. The link is in the chat room. It should be on all three. We are streaming on YouTube, LinkedIn, and the Facebook. And it is itbusinesspodcast.com/join. And no, you just don't come right on stage. I have to be able to look at you, see who you are, and make sure it's legit.
I snuck
So-
in.
What was that?
I snuck in. So
Yeah. So Obando, some
Yeah.
of those pictures, what'd you think
Oh my
looking
gosh.
back?
it brought back such good memories from all the travels I did and traveling with Dor and with Cody. And one of the pictures you showed early on was us in that van. It was us in the Jeep when we went to where did we go to? We went to Canada.
Toronto, yeah.
Oh my gosh. And remember, it was 130 degrees outside. We crammed into that van because I flew into Detroit. And we got picked up and we drove, and then we got stuck at the border due to time and stuff like that. And it was so hot, and it was so fun.
Yeah, that was an interesting tip. So we had seen each other in Chicago at the CompT event.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talked about putting together this very first unconvention, the whole idea of, okay, I don't remember who came up with the idea that let's meet in Michigan and drive.
Well, because I was going to fly all the way there, and they said, no, we should just drive. And I said, great. And then somebody showed up. I think Jeff showed up with his Jeep.
No, it was John Dubinsky's Jeep.
Right. That was right. It was John Dubinsky's Jeep. And I remember sitting I was sitting like I was so close to Jeff, and it was so hot. That was also my first time ever having Waffle House.
Really?
I had never, because we passed into Canada and there was a Waffle House there, and I had never been there before. So coming from the Pacific Northwest, we don't have that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Waffle House is, it's not top tier.
No,
So it's not one that I would say, hey, we got to go to Waffle House.
No, that is true. I was traveling, so I do travel now for my work, and I traveled to some places. I travel back east, and it's not always. I think my next trip is I need to move a company in Boston in September. So I'll fly over to Boston for about a week and hang out over there, and we'll move some servers or get a new building. But I have gone to some Waffle Houses since then, and I've gone to a couple, and I'm like, that one's okay. And I've gone to one, I'm like, you know what, that one's not bad. So it's been a lot of fun.
All right. So you're
Yeah.
doing a lot of traveling now. I know that we got on you all the time for being, as far west as you could be in the US without going to Alaska or Hawaii, and getting you to come across, to the East Coast for stuff. That's a 3-hour time difference from most of the stuff that we did. So, how rough? I was going to say, how rough was it back then compared to today? And I got to imagine it's still kind of the same, right?
Yeah, it's, time. It's really time. I realize that I am, I don't sit in the seats very long. Like, you know what I mean? I think time on a plane, like actually, a rear in a seat. By the time I get to Chicago, I'm like, I'm done. I want to be out of here. So that makes it nice. But usually I have a layover or something like that. But yeah, but I did it because I got to hang out with everybody. I haven't been to a convention in, gosh, in years. I mean, literally, it's been 10 years since I've been to any kind of a convention, and I really miss hanging out with everybody. I miss that thing. Life has moved on. I do different things now, but I do miss that camaraderie and that fun time to just getting together with everybody at conventions. And it's one of these days I'm gonna have to just show up at one and I can't write it off as a work thing anymore and stuff, but but it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun.
All right. Anything back from those days when we were hanging out and stuff that, sticks out in your memory, whether it's, obviously the Jeep ride, but anything else from either of those unconventions? Because you attended 2, I believe, right?
Well, I attended, yeah, but then I attended a lot of Linux fests as well. It's ironically, my daughter married a Cubs fan. And so they're going back to he's always wanted to go to Wrigley. So in September, I think they're going to Wrigley Stadium. And I remember that that CompTIA convention that we went to, and we took a test, or we took a tour, right? And we walked by the door to their network room, and it was wide open. Yeah. And I remember walking to some lady, it was wearing her, Cubs gear, and she works there. And I said, by the way, we're all here from, like, we're all geeks and do networking stuff. And she goes, oh yeah. I said, your server room is wide open. And she got the biggest eyes and she ran. So that's always been like so I get to tell my daughter, I'm like, I get that you get to see the green wall and you get to do all that kind of stuff. And yeah, but I've seen the server room. She doesn't care, but I care. It's,
right. One of the things with going to conferences and events and, stadiums and stuff, where was I? I was just at some place the other day, and there was a Ruckus Wi-Fi access point just, where we could see it. And I turned to the wife, I said, did you see it? And she's like, oh yeah, I noticed it. I don't know why I'm noticing stuff like that. It's so annoying.
Yep. I noticed them too. I'll walk through and my wife's looking at, like, it depends. We're at a store, right? And other people are looking down at things, and the whole time I'm like, I think it's just part of that IT thing. And I don't know if the job makes the person or the person makes the job, but I think we're just wired to look at things. We just look at things differently. We look at network closets and we go, or we go, hey, that's really good. Like, they did a good job of that, and where other people may not really care at all. Access points that not only have, like, the name of the access point, but then the IP address of the access point.
Oh, that is a pet peeve. I don't know when it started becoming a pet peeve, but yeah, labeling your equipment out in public. It's one thing to do it in a server room where the door's closed and that way somebody walking in can look at it, but out in public?
Right. Now you may have your WAPs VLAN, and they may be segregated and stuff like that, but you're showing your IP address. You're, like, showing your cards right there. So yeah, that's always, because even if you are behind a captive portal, right, you may still be broadcasting something that's wrong. And that makes me wonder, like, who put these up? They may have great intentions, but the execution failed for sure.
Yeah. So I was wondering, and I was going to ask somebody about the legality of walking around with my handheld NetAlly tool and just walking into some of those places and just start scanning their network, getting an idea of, their DHCP server and all of that stuff, and just walking up to them and saying, by the way, this is everything that's on your network. Is this what you wanted us to see? But then I thought, ooh, somebody's going to probably call the police.
Well, I think it may depend on who. I mean, that's one of the how I got employed to work at a coffee shop, to handle their IP network. It's because I walked in, I was doing something, I knew the owners, I scanned everything, and I went, by the way, I can see your POS system. And they went, how do we fix that? I'm like, here's how we're going to fix that. So we segmented everything out. And then it became like, well, if you do it for this coffee, if you do it for this shop, can you do it for And then they grew into 5 or 6 shops, and I did it for every single one of their shops as Obando Computing. And
Nice.
so I think it depends on your. I don't think you can walk into like Buc-ee's or
store.
something. Yeah, like just a giant store and be like, here's a problem with your security, because it does tip onto that white hat black hat thing where you're like, I'm just trying to be nice to you, but at the same time, you're completely, you may be pointing out a flaw, and they may not enjoy that very much.
So we have the battle with hotels. So when I do participate with companies where, we want to bring in our own Wi-Fi because we know that the hotel Wi-Fi sucks. And they're like, no, it doesn't. And we're like, yes, it does. We can show you how bad it sucks. And, part of the problem is hotels charge for that Wi-Fi. So if you've got a big enough convention, they want to get thousands of dollars for that Wi-Fi. And, yes, we can bring our own travel routers now, or we can actually just piggyback off of our mobile devices. But even a lot of times, those buildings, they actually will squelch the cell signal, which is frustrating.
Yeah.
Because they want you to use their Wi-Fi. Right.
Or they content filter some, of some sort, which is decent, right? But sometimes you're just like, okay, we need to be able to get to this website, and no, we think that's this. And then when you ask them, can you help us? They say, well, no, that's managed by this company. You need to contact them.
Some third party company, you got an 800 number, and you're lucky if you get somebody who understands what you're saying.
Right.
Because they're like, oh, well, let me just reboot the router.
Right. That's not what...
Oh, you're not Comcast.
Right.
So let me ask this. We didn't ask a whole lot of questions earlier because we tried to front load a lot of stuff. But in terms of the work that you're doing now, how much like advanced networking are you doing? Is it really all still the basic stuff? Is there any anything new and exciting that you've been tackling recently?
Yeah, yes. So I have been I still do a lot of desktop stuff because of one of my position as an account. So I'm what's called account manager. And so I get the escalation tiers. So I don't necessarily get all the first line calls, but I do get the escalation tiers. And sometimes that does mean going on site, looking at a printer or looking at a keyboard or something like that. But then I also have where I now am working on getting clients moved over to SharePoint or Azure. So, 2016 servers are going end of life this year. And so I have 3 customers that are still using 2016. And one of my customers can't move off to the 2016 because they need physical on-prem servers for what they're running. So we're going to get them new servers. But then I have another customer who decided that this was the year they're going to do QuickBooks in the cloud, and they're going to do the time management software in the cloud. And so we're going to move them 100% full to Azure. And so I get a chance to be a part of that. And some of the new guys that come in they just know what to do with that. And it's something that I don't have a whole lot of experience with, just because I can do, Lalo brought it up, I can sit down and I can do a lot of the DHCP and Active Directory and group policy and get all that kind of stuff done. And it doesn't correlate for them, but they can do the Azure. And I see the similarities, right? They do mesh, and I see that, but it's something that it's like, I like to be able to tangibly touch things. And I think that's just because I'm an old man. I just like to tangibly touch things and make sure that it's working well than putting everything up in the cloud. And I know that's not feasible. So I'm learning to take that on and to learning those new skill sets for me.
Well, I think one of the things you just mentioned, going to the cloud doesn't mean abandoning the local network. You've still got to have something on site that is, handing out IP addresses. You've still got to have something on site that is segregating devices. So if you've got a decent firewall to do all that, yes. I have a situation where most of my law firms are still terrestrial. So I've got on-prem servers for them, but I have an adjacent legal company that they want to be in the cloud. So we have a desktop that they share a database from that we're looking at moving that into a cloud infrastructure. But for the meantime, 1, 2, 3 of them still have to VPN into the office in order to work with that particular program. So we've got their office is here in Fort Lauderdale. There's a girl in Georgia. a girl in Venezuela, and a girl in Ocala, Florida. It's about 3 hours away. So they actually remote into a machine. And one of the managers, we got her a new computer. We did it completely Azure. But then I realized we use TrueGrid for secure remote access, which is still RDP, but it's just a reverse proxy stuff, blah, blah, blah. But for some, we couldn't RDP into that station because it was an Azure state machine. It was one of those things where there's still scenarios where going to the cloud hinders the local network. So I couldn't do a full joining of her machine to Azure. So we did a registration. So she still has her stuff. We just, did a register, and all her stuff follows her profile, but the machine itself is not full Azure AD.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I'll have some that are just 100%. I don't really do I don't do the hybrid thing. I think if you have a server on site, we'll just leave everything on prem, right? We'll just do everything on prem. You'll RDP in, or you'll use, VPN or, whatever through the Sonic wall or something like that. Right. And then, but if you're Azure, we're going to do everything Azure. And so working a hybrid model right now, you're talking, these are clients with, 5, 6 computers. So they're not huge. These are not my giant, big ones. Cause a lot of times they also need on-prem because they're doing CAD and they're doing SolidWorks and they're doing, they're designing, tools and stuff for their products. And that all requires a lot of horsepower on site. Or we're working with their parent company because we're contracted IT support for them locally. We're working with their parent company because then they've got, a whole setup in another company or in another state and stuff like that. So,
right. So I had an AutoCAD company, engineering company, reach out to me a while back, and they wanted to go cloud they had an office here in the Lauderdale area and then one in Jacksonville, and they wanted to cloud share all their stuff. And now this was a couple of years ago. So it's even today, I probably would still not entertain it because I'm like, okay, you can't work with those files from the cloud direct. You're going to have to sync them. And just know that the syncing, while you can cache some of that stuff, once you do the changes and they've got to sync up, and then the person in Jacksonville, I said, it's going to be pricey. And they were still on broadband internet, which, wasn't great because they were on, I think it was a 130 connection, 100 down, 30 up. And I said, that's not enough. You got to go fiber if you want to do this, because you've got to transfer those files fast.
Yeah.
And I think people still don't realize how much of a hindrance going full cloud is in certain scenarios, because they had, some of those files were, hundreds of gigs in size.
Right. Well, not only that, but then you end up running into this issue where, it's a cached issue. And so now you're like, how come my computer ran out of hard drive space? Well, all these cache things. So you can clear up the cache, and they're like, where's my files? Well, to clear up hard drive space, we had to clear up the cache. And now the files don't live like in SharePoint, right? They're not synced locally. So now you play this game of like, you're always doing a shell game with trying to do, computer speed. And you're like, well, I don't want a fast, I don't want a thick, I don't want a Dell Precision. Now they're not Dell, but like a Dell Pro Max, right? I don't want that. I want a thin computer that works like a desktop. I'm like, well, you gotta, where's your trade-off gonna be?
Yeah. So we proposed to them a Synology in each location where they would sync and do the snapshot syncing. So that way they could work locally, but they would sync, and then we would use the Synology, we wouldn't use the drive. We would just do the straight sync between the NASs. But I still told them, I said, you still need a faster internet to do that syncing. So they didn't bite, so I didn't do it.
But you can do things fast, but you can't, your bottleneck will always be your ISP.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there anybody from the old community that you're keeping in touch with that,
Sad to say I'm not. And I know that's definitely all on me, and it has nothing to do with anybody else. I got a little burnt out, not from the community. I got burnt out in tech for a long time there. And then I think my hours right now are different. Life changes. Both my kids today, we're celebrating, after we're done here, we're celebrating my son's 26th birthday today. I have a 2.5-year-old grandson. My wife and I are celebrating 30 years. Thinking my wife and I are celebrating 30 years in November. I turned 50 last month. My daughter graduated college and she's now working, and a husband. And so we've got everybody downstairs. And so I think life just moves on. And it's not because I don't want to talk to, Tim and Mitch and Cody and Dor and, Jonathan Nadeau and all of these people that I have these great fond memories to. I think life moved on, and it definitely is something that I'm going to have to change. It's definitely a priority that I'm going to need to do and reach back out to them. And I'd love to talk with them. So if they are hearing this, I love you guys and I miss you. And I'd love to reach back out to you and talk to you guys, because I do miss that. Everybody who I've met over the years through Podnutz Podnutz brought just a huge, I met so many great people through Podnutz, not only just people who were podcasters within the Podnutz community, but at all those conventions. And you had asked me about those pictures earlier. They're brought, all these faces just pop back into my memory about all these wonderful people that I met and saw. And I would go to conventions and we'd sit down and talk and laugh and have a beer together. And it really holds a special place in my heart for the Podnutz community. And I think it's awesome that you're taking this, you're continuing this legacy on, because it's such a wonderful thing. And thank you for, I'm not leaving yet, but I just wanted to thank you for reaching back out and saying, hey, we'd love to have you back on the show, because it's a special time in my life that holds a special place in my heart. And I truly really enjoyed meeting everybody throughout the years.
Well, it was something that, when I did the 300 celebration, for some reason, I thought, I made it to 300. I don't know if I'll make it to 5. And then when it got close to 5, then it felt weird. I'm like, I don't really want to celebrate 500. And when I got to this year, so this technically is the 10th year that I've been hosting the shows. We started October 2016. And I thought, you know what, I'll just plan something in October, and we'll make it like the 10-year anniversary thing. But then as I got close to 1,000, and I talked to other podcasters outside of the IT space, and all of them were talking about, this mythical 1,000 episode number. And some of them are, they're still in the, hundreds to 200s. I think there's one that's in the 300 range. But, so my show, tech show, Mike Smith, he's coming up on 1,000. There's a gentleman that I have talked with, Jim Collison. He runs a show called Home Gadget Geeks. He's in the 900s this year. And so the other podcasters out in the other space, when we're talking, like true crime and health and all of those things, they're the ones that are like, oh my God, you're coming up to 1,000 shows. That must be huge. You got to throw a big party. I'm like, no, but I'll do a special show. I'll invite people back, especially because, it wasn't my show, to be honest, when it started out. And that's why I reached out to Cherubino, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. Crickets.
Come on.
But I did that. But I reached out to Dor to do a show with him earlier this year. I'm reaching out to just, anybody from that time period to say, hey, I want to go back and recognize where it all started, which for me, but I actually went back and I looked, 2013.
Wow. Is
when I first came across the Podnutz network.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase that. I think I came upon it in 2012, but I was like, this podcasting thing sounds stupid.
Well, yeah, and it was touched on earlier that this was, 1,000 is a lot, because as you go back, even 2016, right, 10 years, this was the whole podcasting thing had just started to take off. And it was, you had just mentioned it. It's kind of dumb. That's, that's not going to kick on. And here you are. You're one of the people now who are the OG podcasters, right? Who have reached 1,000 years across all these platforms. You're talking to all these podcasts, whether it's health or, like you said, health or true crime or not just computers, but across all different platforms. 1,000 is a great milestone, and I if I was wearing a hat, I'd tip it to you, because that is such a great thing that you've been doing and keeping up with it. And IT has, not let you down. You will always have something to talk about.
Yes,
for sure.
always a story.
For sure. Yeah, that, true crime, health, those things like that. They're always somebody's always going to need something. So.
Yeah. All right. So let me do this. Let me take a couple of minutes here. We're coming up to 90 minutes, and I want to do some very special shout outs. And this show, normally on the live show, I would have a sponsor, but this show I did specifically separate because I didn't want to recognize just current sponsors. To be honest, this journey simply would not have been possible if it wasn't for support I mentioned earlier of my wife, who allows me to do this and take away valuable family time, but also with the support of people who believed in what we were doing, in the community aspect, the sharing aspect, but also because of what I've done with the show in terms of traveling and the equipment and stuff. I've asked for, people to sponsor the show, and both past and present, I want to take time to recognize now for people that have stayed with me. A special shout out, first of all, to NetAlly. NetAlly was the first big sponsor of the show. I call them the legacy sponsor because they have been with me since not the beginning, but early on in the process. And, providing me the platform to share their handheld tools has been fantastic. And I appreciate that. And then our live stream partners, ThreatLocker, which is the current partner now, SuperOps, who was the previous live stream partner, helping me to cover the cost of streaming because it's not cheap to do streaming well. So I appreciate that. All of our other sponsors, I'm just going to list them off here. Current sponsors, OneStream, TrueGrid, sponsors in past, LionGuard, Rhythms, Designer Ready, Computers Done Right, Thread, Synchro, Instant House Call, my very first monetary sponsor, AppRiver. Thank you guys very much for, the role that you guys played in helping me do this. I also want to thank you to people that have given individually, and whether that's one time or monthly, that is appreciated as well. The people that have done it continuously over the years: Tom Bull, Jason Miller, Jason Percival, Clark Stockdale, Israel Stern, Ramey Bell, Kyle Kenyon, Jarrett Grant, and Rick Hollisey. Thank you for stepping up personally, because again, we are doing a show that is trying to help, other IT business owners, and, we're all trying to just do a little bit better. So your support means more to me than just dollars. It represents a belief in what the IT Business Podcast, has as a mission, and our message to, help everybody do it better, stronger, faster. And of course, if you haven't contributed, some of you have contributed by just simply purchasing stuff on Amazon and using my link. I can't thank you personally because I don't know who purchases what, but that adds up over time. Some of you have purchased, both business items, personal items. I appreciate that. I would encourage everybody, if you don't want to, do a monthly contribution or something like that, just do the Amazon. It's no difference to you in terms of price. You just have a different starting page, and a percentage comes back to the show. But then, of course, every listener, every supporter, friend of the show, guest of the show, I don't want to forget that it takes everybody being willing to say yes to, whether that's just hanging on the show, whether it's, something you're promoting as a vendor, a topic that's covering, whether it's a bad topic in the channel, a great topic at the channel, or a friend that I've reached out to and said, hey, I want to talk about this. Can you come on? And that goes back to the Podnutz Pros Day, Podnutz Pro Days. You guys have helped shape this show. 1,000 episodes, 10 years in. And as somebody said, maybe 1,000 more. We'll see what happens. So thank you guys very much. Obando, thank you very much for
You're welcome. Thank you for the invite.
staying on.
Yeah.
Any last words you want to say to anybody out there?
Don't forget to be gruntled.
There it is. The Geekster code. Oh, fantastic. Thank you, sir. Well, that's going to do it, folks, for this special 1000th episode. Thank you very much for tuning in. I see people are still watching. And if you catch this after the fact, just drop a note in there and give me your thoughts. But we'll be back as per usual. We got another live show this upcoming Wednesday, got some audios coming out, and got some product demos, including the Fluke Link IQ Duo that I'm going to be talking about and seeing how it goes. But for now, actually it's raining, so I don't have to go mow the lawn, but I probably still do have to go home. So that's going to do it, folks. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Holla.